Hi. How's everybody doing this amazing Saturday morning? I love it. And this is going to be a very amazing moment, this show, because I am like so ready to go over some personal development things and ideas. And I had a great pep talk with my coach before I got on here. Thank you, Guy. So I'm getting ready to dive into personal development because I think it is so super important to pay so much attention to yourself that you're able to function and accumulate the things that you want to in your life. You want to manifest everything that you're thinking about. You want to think about, well, what do I want? Why do I want it? We never think about the how, but we want to think about the what you want and be specific and why do you want it and have passion behind it and what you're going to do with it when you get it, like feel that excitement right now. So it was something that Guy had said before we came on, and he was talking about the pep talks and the energy that you give each other before you go to a game. So if anybody plays sports, whether it's football, basketball, volleyball, tennis, it doesn't really matter what it is. There is always a pep talk with the team and the coach before you even go out there to meet your opponent and to go all in. So that actually sparked something in my mind, and I thought about it. I was like, you know what? You need to have, or we all need to have that support system. And we always know that everybody doesn't always have that support system. So sometimes we have to create the support system, and you don't always have the ability to create the support system around you with the people around you because everybody is not always as supportive as you want them to be, right? So our support system and who's going to support us is going to be our own personal team that we're going to build. So going into talking about personal development this week, I was thinking about the team that we have to create, which would basically be the multiple characteristics of the person who you want to become. So whoever it is of the characteristics you want to become, if you can identify the characteristics in a person that you are familiar with or know or don't even know, or maybe it's an idol or somebody, that you see on mainstream TV. And it could be, let's just say Halle Berry. Like, I want to be Halle Berry. What about Halle Berry do I like? I like her confidence. I like her enthusiasm. I like her passion for helping other people, different things like that, right? So you want to take different characteristics, or they're very empathetic, or they have, they're very active and they motivate themselves. Some people are most self-motivators, and some people are not, right? So whatever characteristics you want to become part of your life, or you want to make sure you have, grab those characteristics. We talked about the mirror work. Get in front of the mirror and have your pep talk in the morning with your team. You have that pep talk, right? Go in there and talk about all the things that you want to acquire that day. You want to, not really just as much as acquire, but all the things that you want to accomplish and achieve in that day. Have that pep talk to yourself. Like, go in there and get yourself riled up, get yourself all energetic and fired up. Go in there and jump around in that mirror and scream and talk. I don't care if the neighbors hear you, if you're in a close, proximity to somebody, or if you're in your own house and you have people in the house and they looking at you crazy. Your pep talk to yourself is like life, because you're feeding that energy into you that you need and you want and that you actually look for from your supporters from the outside world, right? So my biggest thing has always been, how can I support myself? How can I motivate myself? How can I be that coach, that inspirer, that motivator for myself? Because I don't always have that motivation and inspiration for myself because I didn't learn how to have it. So what I want to go over is learning how to have that motivation for yourself, giving yourself that pep talk in the morning, getting deeper into personal development and developing the characteristics that you want for your life or who you want to be on the level of how you see yourself in your best self. Like whatever the best self you can imagine yourself of being, whatever that is, having your own business, having a family, having a mansion, having a nice little cottage in the woods, whatever that is for you. That is your best self. That is how you want to show up. And you want to show up today in that best self feeling, right? So you have to help yourself and to remove the paradigms from your old lifestyle habits and remove the old habits connected to them so you can actually create better habits and create the paradigm that you want that is going to support where you're going for your future, for your success, for yourself, right? So in order to do that, you need to live that now, right? We all know that you need to live your future now. So you can know what it feels like, you can embrace it, and then it comes to you a lot quicker because now you're walking on the frequency, you're rolling and flowing on the frequency that you need to be on for it to manifest in your life. That's all that is. If we're not on the correct frequency to manifest what we want in our life, it won't come. You know why? Because we're not ready for it. We have to prepare ourselves and get ready for what we're asking for. And it won't come until we're ready. Whether it's the lack of knowledge and we need to go gain an understanding, the lack of emotion and we need to go gain some passion, or the lack of motivation and we need to get fired up to get there. Whatever it is, we need to ensure ourselves because we owe it to ourselves. We owe it to ourselves. Say that out loud to yourself. I owe it to myself to be the greatest me I can be. I deserve this success. I deserve this mansion. I deserve this promotion. I deserve this business. I deserve my clients. I deserve my customers. I deserve, my promotion. I deserve to wake up every day and feel amazing. I deserve it. And when you deserve it, you expect it to happen. And when you expect it to happen and you put the passion behind wanting it, it's going to come after you get the knowledge on how to get there, right? Because we still have to do our part. Nothing is going to fall in our lap out of the sky like cats and dogs or whatever, money and whatever. It's not going to just fall out the sky. Your Mr. or Mrs. Right is not going to knock on your door or ring your doorbell and say, hey, babe, I'm home. You have to go out there and do your part to make it come so you can be happy because that's what you asked for. So understand that what you asked for is what's going to show up in your life. So make sure you're asking for the right thing the right way. That is, first off, by increasing your personal development, getting to know who you are better. Because until you know who you are, you can't ask for what you really, truly want. You're going to ask for what you want off of this preconceived notion of who you are. When then you start growing and you learn who you are and you start changing who you are. And now all of those things that you wanted are no longer in alignment to what you want and who you are and who you want to become. And now you're starting all over because you just put in all that extra work and didn't do the first step. And the first step and foremost step to anything you want to accomplish in your life or anything that you want to do, anything, is personal development. You have to develop yourself first in order to get the life you want, to get the promotion, to get the job, to get the spouse, to get the kids to act right, to get the family to do what they need to do, or for you to do what you need to do, even for yourself, which is first and foremost and which personal development is about. It's about you. It's not about anybody else. It's about you. Because once you're in alignment, and once you know exactly what you want and you're walking in that purpose and in those steps, guess what? It's going to come for you. And everything that comes for you is going to benefit everybody that's around you, everybody that you love and care about, as long as they're on the same level. Now, if they decide that they're not going to support you, they don't want to be there, there are times that you got to make those tough decisions and tough choices to cut people off, because if you don't, it becomes a distraction for the development of yourself. And you don't want to cheat yourself out of life. So in order to not cheat yourself, you got to pick yourself first. So don't cheat yourself, pick yourself. First and foremost is you. and what do you want? How do you want to live? So let's talk about empathy. And a lot of people struggle with empathy, right? And empathy is about different perspectives that you can actually understand and relate to without being sympathetic, basically putting too much emotion into the situation. That's sympathy. So, I'm having sympathy. I'm crying when you're crying. I'm hurting when you're hurting. I'm feeling what you're feeling. I understand what you understand, the whole thing, right? So I now emotionally feel what you feel, sympathy. Empathy, emotion is off the table. There is no emotion in empathy. I don't have emotion in this. I have complete understanding with what you're going through. And I can probably come up with a solution because I can identify with what you're going through and what you're feeling to help you to get out of those feelings or out of that situation. Having empathy is amazing when you're having to deal with your kids, your spouse. You have to deal with your employees, your team at your business or work. Whatever you're doing, when you're dealing outside with people, having empathy is going to help smooth things and make things so much easier in moving around in this world with so many people who's very non-passionate, very mean, egotistical, narcissistic, just angry, depressed, and sometimes they lash out and give us that same anger and depression and negativity when the only thing we could do is not return the negativity and the negative emotions and feelings because we don't want to harbor those emotions inside of us to where it then becomes our problem. Remember that when you go down to their level of negativity, you have then made it your problem. And now you feel those emotions, and now you have to go and do the work again to pull that frequency back up because you can't manifest the greatness that you talked about in the mirror when you had your pep talk to yourself. You can't manifest that greatness when you're allowing so many people's negative energy to impede on your life and to become a part of your life because you absorbed it into yourself. No, you don't want to do that. They talk about empaths being able to feel energies. Yes, feel them. And even if you're empathic or you're not, you want to be able to keep their energy over there with them. Let them have their baggage. You don't want to take someone else's baggage. You want to just be able to create and have on your own baggage, right? Because we get our own plate full with our own things. We don't need to add to it with somebody else's stuff. So being empathetic will help to alleviate those situations. If empathy doesn't work, silence always does. If the person doesn't want to hear you and while you're being empathetic to them and saying, I do understand your situation, and no, you don't understand, and you just don't get it, and it does. And if it just goes on, and sometimes it does, best thing to do, be quiet. Just don't say anything at all. Just don't feed into that energy. You want to make sure that energy stays at a distance from you so you don't absorb that energy, and then that energy throws you off track from what you trying to do and you need to do for your life, because that energy will completely throw you in a whole different direction than where you're trying to go. And then you got to work your way back to where you were on that positive frequency. And not to mention that some people get stuck on this side of being just in tune with that negative energy, and they fall back into old habits, and you don't even realize it till months or years later. And you're like, oh man, I was working on being a better me and being empathetic, and I lost track, and I just stopped doing it, right? Being consistent and practicing empathy in any characteristic that you want to develop, you have to practice it to make it a part of you. Just like you practice all those bad habits that are now a part of you that they call the imposter syndrome, which it's not imposter syndrome. It's a group of paradigms, which is a group of habits that you created and taught through your neuroreceptors in your mind how to respond and act and behave in certain situations when triggered to get the results that you are getting. So if the results in your life you don't like and they're not in alignment with where you're going, then you might want to go to the trigger and figure out what it is so you can go into the behavior and change your behavior for a different result. That is the breakdown of a habit. A habit has three parts. It's the trigger, which is what gets you activated into that behavior of a habit. Like, say, you see a commercial that says Super Bowl Sunday, you get excited. Super Bowl Sunday commercial is a trigger, right? So let's just say the Super Bowl Sunday is a bad relationship that you may be in or was in, but one of those relationships that you're kind of addicted to. So every time you see that person or hear that person's name, it triggers you. And then you start feeling certain emotions that are married to that trigger. And then you start behaving in a particular way. And then the results you get depends on the behavior you gave, if that makes sense, right? So if the trigger is Super Bowl, keeping it simple, Super Bowl is my trigger. Instead of me behaving and saying, I'm getting ready to go paint my face, I'm getting ready to go run around, I'm getting ready to go get all these snacks and food, I'm gonna have a Super Bowl party and I'm gonna have a great time. And every time you finish at the end of the Super Bowl party, you're upset and frustrated because everybody just left. And guess what? All the dirt and trash and dirty dishes and all the stuff is left to you. You got to clean up the mess. Now you're going through your house, cleaning up the mess, and you know it was a really good party. You had a great time, but there's another party you're saying, you know what, this just wasn't worth it. I spent about $500-600. I done gave up my house, and my house is trashed right now. It's a mess. I got to go clean my house and take the time to do all these other things, which is the result of the party, which was from the trigger of the Super Bowl Sunday, right? Nothing against Super Bowl. I'm just using it as an example. Please don't take it any other way except as an example. And it's an easy example because Super Bowl is something that we can all connect to. We get excited about Super Bowl. Then you want to have a party. You want to celebrate the Super Bowl because you want to celebrate your team. As you're celebrating your team and celebrating the Super Bowl, you have a process where you have to go and set up everything for everybody to get there. When everybody gets there and everything is all over with, the result of what happened is the end result. So it helps you to see a trigger. So the trigger, helps you to see a habit. I'm sorry. So you have the trigger, which is the commercial and the leading up to the Super Bowl Sunday. And then you have the party that you threw. And now at the end, you kind of slightly regret it because you have a whole gang of trash and nobody even stayed to help you. All these people came and had a great time off of your expense. So now you don't feel so good, right? The same thing with any habit, and especially when you're talking about your paradigms, because there's a group of habits that you've accumulated from multiple people around you, your society, just everything. And you acquired certain habits from things that you like and you don't like. You decided those are part of your lifestyle and this is who you are and how you are, right? Some of those things that you like and don't like didn't necessarily come from your experience. It came from you hearing about somebody else's experience with it. And they didn't like it or they liked it. And now you like it or don't like it because of what they liked or didn't like, which doesn't make a lot of sense because we still haven't gotten down to what do you actually like? Like I've gone back and found things that I thought I liked. And then after I really analyzed it and looked down into it, I was like, I know I made myself like it because my mom, my dad, my ex, my children, or somebody that I've been around liked it. So I had to accommodate their feelings and what they wanted. And then it became a part of my habits. Even though they're not even in my life anymore or whatever, I'm still doing those same things. Why are you doing them? And we don't understand that that's how we accumulate all of our habits. And then it becomes for this little, we box them together in little paradigms, like just a little box of habits, right? And you got to go and sort through the box and look through all the things that are stopping you and lowering your frequency and stopping you from being your greatest and manifesting the things you want in your life. So habit, and I give you that because the thing with this and how you can change it is when you know what the trigger is, because you are aware of yourself and you're working on yourself, you're doing the personal development work on you to understand what you're doing, what you need to change, and where you want to be at. And it's called a personal development plan. You need a plan. You need to put out a plan. It's like a business plan, but it's a personal development plan. You also have a professional plan for your business or your job. You have different plans for your life. We haven't been taught all these things, but we have a personal development plan. You can look it up. You can get templates and you can actually put it together. But you want to understand who you are. Like, what do you like truly? What don't you like really? And what is it that you really want? And where do you want to be in your life? And then you want to put it together in a plan so you can actually map out how you're going to accomplish your greatness in this plan. Now, looking at your triggers, whatever trigger you, understand after you realize and focus on the trigger and understand what the trigger is, the next thing you do is you see and monitor your behavior and your emotion to that trigger. And those are things that you can control and change, which is the emotion to the trigger and the behavior to the trigger, and that habit can be changed. Because now you're looking for a different result. So the results you put down for your personal development plan are those results that you want. So if the habits that you have and are things that you are doing are not in alignment with where you're going and what you want, you will not have the results that you are looking for. Hence, you will keep in the hamster wheel and repeating the same thing like Groundhog Day over and 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 over. And when you finally understand and see that you're on this hamster wheel and say, oh my gosh, I keep going through the same thing every single time with every job, every person, every situation. I keep having the same response, result. I keep having the same result. I want to change the result because this result is not in alignment with my personal development plan and the result that I'm supposed to have over there. It doesn't even match. Therefore, I need to do something different. When you're doing something different, you're changing your behavior to the trigger from the habit, correct? Okay, so now that you're looking at that trigger differently, and now it's become, oh, so that triggers me. Oh, this song triggers me. Oh, this movie triggers me. This location, this city triggers me. Whatever it is that triggers you, now you know I need to behave differently. I need to have a different response to this trigger that will be in alignment to the result in my personal development plan that I wrote and set down for myself so I could be the greatest me I can be. Now, I am going to do this. Tell yourself, get in there and pep talk yourself. I'm going to do this. Now, I said that this is the result that I want. This is not what I'm getting. So therefore, ergo, I need to change my behavior. I need to change my emotion to it. If I'm feeling negative towards something, guess what? I could feel positive to it. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna have to feel negative to it for the rest of my life. No, I'm gonna feel negative to it for as long as I'm allowing myself to feel negative towards it. So if I want to feel positive towards it, what I will do is I will change how I think about it. My perception to it will have to change how I feel about it. So this thing that I love so much, let's say Super Bowl Sunday, I can actually decide if I want to. I could decide to hate it. Like, I don't like it because my house is destroyed, this or this or this or this, and I could pull up a whole lot of things and I could just make myself not like it. Or, so we have choices. Remember that. We have choices. Or, I am no longer going to have a Super Bowl party at my house. From now on, I'm going to everybody else's house, or I'm going to the bar, and I'm going to celebrate there with everybody so I can come home to a clean, peaceful house without me spending a lot of money doing it. It's your choice. Just understand that it just has to be in alignment with what makes you feel good, in alignment with your personal development plan and where you're going. It doesn't have to be right on anybody's level. If anybody said what you're doing is wrong, tell them, well, you're wrong because you don't know my personal development plan. You have a personal development plan for your life or not, but I have one for mine. And I'm following my plan. I did a whole mind mapping. I got the map. I got the whole journey. My system is down and I'm doing me. And that is perfectly fine. And no matter if somebody tells you don't do this, you will never second guess yourself when you have your personal development plan and changing your habits. They're going to say, because they're used to you responding and reacting in a certain way. And now that you're not doing that anymore because it's not in alignment with where you're going, they're going to tell you that you're wrong and that they're going to go against what you're saying. And that's where you come up with the bumping heads, even with family. And that's why I said sometimes you got to learn how to let people go. Regardless of how long you've known them or how much you love them or if they're blood or not, sometimes you a lot of times you just gotta let people go. And I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna say sometimes because it is a lot of times. You really truly have to let people go. Because if you don't, they will constantly be a distraction to your personal development goal and will throw you off in alignment to what you want to do to be your best and be successful. So if you truly want to be true to yourself, I suggest you make a personal development plan and you stick to it and you practice everything that you put in there and you be mindful of what you put in there and you be aware of your situation. You be aware of what you're doing. You be aware of your emotions and actions towards everything that you're doing in your life until you can completely learn you, rebuild who you want to be, and become the greatness that you know you are, because you are great. You just got to find it. And it's a system to it. And I want to teach you the system. I want to make sure that you know the system and you understand, and I teach you the system so then you can just actually go out there and be your greatest. If everybody was their greatest, guess what? There would be really no negativity and no reason for anybody to be depressed, right? So just walk in your greatness. We're not going to worry about if everybody else is depressed, because not everybody else is going to understand the information and knowledge to get to this point to where you are, to change your life, become your greatest, get into your personal development goals and write the plan and actually put it into a nice systematized system that you can practice and follow every single day until you become the what you want to become. All those thoughts in your head, once it becomes your reality, you've arrived. And that's what you want to do. You want to arrive into your greatness. So work on you, focus on you, think about you, worry about you. Really not worry, but your focus needs to be on you. Confidence. Oh, yes. I love this one. Your confidence in your personal development plan and the confidence in yourself, which is the faith that we talk about. Have faith in you, that you can actually do the physical part of what you're thinking to actually make it come to reality. You have to have the confidence to go out there and fight for what you want. You have to have the confidence to say no when you want to say yes. You have to have the confidence to say no to those people you keep saying yes to who expect a yes from you. And they should not expect a yes from you. They should not expect anything of you and from you, because you are you and you're going to walk the way you want to. And you need to do what you is best for you so people can learn how to approach you. That's why people get mad and start falling off, because you used to say yes all the time. And now you're not saying yes to me no more. So now we're having an argument and a head bump because I'm not getting my way. Guess what you do? You give in or you give up. Which one are you going to give? Up or in? I'll give up. I'm going to give up on trying to help you out. I'm going to give up on trying to love you. I'm going to give up on trying to be the best you want me to be. I'm going to give up on everything you want for my life because you are not looking at my personal development plan that I want for my life and who I want to be, and you want me to be somebody different. Therefore, ergo, I change. Bye. I give up. I'm not trying no more. I give up on you. I give up on this. And you have to be true to that, right? Or give in and say, okay, it doesn't feel good, but I'm still going to do it. Well, I don't like it, but I'm still going to do it. Well, I don't agree, but I'm still going to do it. Well, I don't think it's right. I don't want to do it, but I'm still going to do it. Now you feel horrible. You're not in alignment with your personal development plan, nor do you have the confidence to stand up for yourself. And if you don't have the confidence to stand up for yourself, guess what? You won't be around anybody else who will have the confidence to stand up for you. You're not going to have people around you who are like you when you're hiding who you are. You're hiding who you are by being everybody else, everybody who they want you to be, living up to everybody else's expectations of who they want you to be, not who you want to be, because I guarantee you 85% of the people didn't even ask you what you wanted. They didn't even ask. They just told you what they expect from you. They didn't ask you, were you okay with it? They didn't ask you if you wanted to do that. They didn't even ask you if you liked it. They just expect it from you, and you give in and do it, and then you feeling horrible at the end of the day, every single day, because you are outside of who you are and who you want to become, of your best self. So don't sacrifice being your best self to appease somebody's expectation of you. Do not sacrifice being your best self to appease somebody's expectation of you. So please let that resonate with you. You are being people's expectations of you, and not one of them people ask you what you want. They didn't ask you how you felt about it. They didn't ask you what your emotions are. They didn't ask you if you're consciously aware of the emotions that you're in. They didn't even ask if you're consciously aware of what you actually want. They just expect you to be a certain way. And sometimes society teaches us what to expect from each other. Oh, you're a woman, so this is what I expect from you. Or you're a man, this is what I expect from you. Or you're a child, this is what I expect from you. This is your pet, this is what I expect from you. And even though dogs and cats don't mind being told what to do, sometimes they really do mind being told what to do. They have feelings too. But we're just so in the expectation of expecting from others that we lose that bond and that human real connection of, what do you really want? What do you want? What is going to make you happy? And it doesn't come by force. It comes naturally and organically and smoothly and just lovingly, which causes this euphoric feeling of motivation to go fight for what you want. So we gonna have to give our own self that euphoric feeling to go fight for what we want and gain the motivation. And you gain the motivation by having confidence, by listening actively listen to what people say to you. Like, really listen to what people say to you. And you will really truly discover what they expect from you, what they think about you, and what they want from you. Actively listen to the words that come out of people's mouths. And then when you increase your level of knowledge, those words have a whole new meaning. Because trust me, even though we all know what applause means, we also know that if you go to any dictionary, the American dictionary, every one word, depending on how it's used in a sentence, has multiple definitions. So how many people really know if you're using an adjective, a verb, a noun, or a pronoun, or, I know the pronoun is names, but if I'm using the adjective or a verb or a noun, and then I have to use this particular word, and then if I have to go look this up to figure out which way you really mean it, that's a lot of work. And we typically don't do that. We typically don't do that at all. We just assume we know what they're saying. And then from our perception of what they said to us, we decipher the message of what's being said to us, right? When you gain the level of understanding and knowledge for words and the meanings behind the words, you actually absorb that differently. You actually listen to the words and you saying, oh, you saying that you can't stand me and you hate me, but you're trying to show me you love me and I'm confused. So then we tend to ask people, well, do you love me or don't you? Well, I know this person loves me, but they just don't act like it all the time. No, it's because they don't love you. I mean, if somebody loves you, they're going to love you all the time. They're going to love you through your challenges and through your woes, and they're going to be empathetic to the things that you're going through and understandable, and they're going to give you solutions. They're going to listen to your personal development plan so they can add to it. Because when you're doing a personal development plan with your friend, a spouse, a family member, they can actually help you see the other side that you haven't looked at, the observer side, looking from the outside of you, showing you what you look like, you sound like, you feel like to them, to people outside of you. They can help you with your personal development plan. You can think that you're going to think, and most people do, think that they're the greatest, most amazing person ever, and they don't do anything wrong, and they are usually far from the truth. You usually do things wrong, because if you didn't do anything wrong, everybody around you will agree with you and be happy with you, and you'll be ecstatic and happy. You wouldn't be depressed or anxious or fearful or worrying about anything or doubtful or confused about anything, because you will have everything under control. When you gain confidence, confidence is because you know what's going on and you got control. When you don't have control, you have no confidence, because you don't have confidence in the information that you're giving out or that you even have, right? So once you have, and you know, I got this plan, it's a great plan, and you believe in your plan, the confidence comes with that. It's like a marriage couple, like a family. It's like confidence comes. I believe, I got passion in this. There comes confidence. Confidence right there. And it's going to carry you along the way. And then you're going to have active listening. So your instinct, your intuition, along with your insight to information, you're going to look at somebody and be like, you know what? I know that is BS. Because my instinct said that nope. My intuition told me that you was lying. And guess what? The insight that I have on the information I have on that topic, I know you're wrong. They all agree you're wrong. We all agree you're wrong. We agree you're wrong, right? So then you have the confidence to back yourself up. But then when you don't have the instinct, the intuition, or the insight to the information that you need to back up your information, guess what? You feel inconclusive. And then you lack of confidence, because you don't really know. I don't know. I think it worked like this. And even if you try to lie through the confidence and try to make somebody believe it, guess what? You're going to do what we call in track a stutter step before the leap over the hurdle, because the hurdle is trying to make somebody believe you, right? You're going to stutter step while you're coming up to the hurdle, because that confidence, that lack of confidence will show up. I promise you. Just actively listen and actively watch and pay attention to your outside world. It's called social awareness, because your social awareness will help you decide who needs to be in your circle. And your self-awareness allows you to see who needs to stay in your circle. Because everybody don't need to stay, even though they want to stay, they don't belong right there, so they can't stay. They got to go. So understand that there's different levels and steps. So we talked about empathy. We talked about confidence. We talked about actively listening. Let's move on to, I think this is pretty much one of my favorites since college, when I took personal development, interpersonal communication. And this one was really, really, really amazing. And I love this. And it's called body language. Body language. Your body has its own language. It does not even have words to it, which is why they say if you say it and you don't do it, you don't mean it, right? I love you, but I'm never around you. I don't ever have time for you. I don't ever make time for you. And I don't even want to talk to you half the time. Do I really love you? I say I love you, but then you're not showing me that I love you. So do you love me? And then people say, well, I'm confused. Okay, let's cut this real, real short. I'm going to give y'all the key. Here's the key right here. If they're not doing it, they don't mean it. The words are empty words, just empty words, because your actions are truth. Your actions are real. Your actions tell what you're really thinking. People say, I want to know mental telepathy. I want to know what that person's thinking. Do you really? Because if you really wanted to know what they were thinking, you'd be paying more attention to their actions and not the words that they're speaking on. Because the words that they're speaking on, people, master manipulators and people who are in tune with NLP know how to say the right words to you and lie to you all in your face and make you feel good about the lies that you're getting. You feel amazing about those lies. You feel exuberant about those lies. But you have to read through all of that with discernment, your instinct, your intuition. They tell you, they give you discernment on if it's lies or not. Or if you're not that good in learning discernment or even feeling emotion, because empaths can really feel when people are lying to them. We literally feel you lying to me. Like the first thing I do, I just start rolling my eyes like, oh my God, is this person, and this person gonna keep on going with it. This person is really in a whole story. And you know, when people give you detailed stories, it is a lie. Like that is like, okay, come on. Just come on. Like, but everybody's on the different levels of learning and different levels of education and knowledge. So therefore, some people don't know that when they're giving these long, elaborate stories that we all know that they're not telling the truth because they have too many details. It's too much. It's just too much. It's too much. It's the same thing with body language. Your words are just too much. Just show me. Just show me. You love me, show me. Send me some flowers once a month, random days. I don't want to know. Just let it be a surprise. Just surprise me. I want a surprise. Oh, you don't like surprises? No problem. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do for you every day, but I'm going to still keep doing it for you. I'm going to do it for you randomly here and there and there. And I don't have to tell you I love you all the time. But if I show you I love you, you know I love you. Right? Because you know that's real. Because that person's being attentive to you. They're aware of your emotions. They're aware of what you're feeling. They're aware of what you're thinking. They know that with certain body language, whatever you're doing, they know exactly how you feel, what you're thinking, and what you're doing. You don't need mental telepathy. You don't need some high-ranking educational knowledge. You just need to pay attention. Just pay attention. If you read people's body language and watch the body language and you do active listening and listen to the words, you could tell if those two even match. Like your body language and the words you're using don't even match. Red flag. You're not even in alignment with the conversation that you even have for me. You're not even in alignment with the information that you're giving out. Like, where are you at? Dude, like, where are you at? Then you know. That's called knowledge, right? I don't need to be so intuitive or instinctful or spiritual or empathic to feel them lying to me. Okay, but I have another way to find out if you're lying to me. That don't even make sense. Like what you're saying and what you're doing don't even make sense. That don't even add up. That don't even make sense. There's like an equal sign, but I don't know if it's adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing the information that you just said. Like, I don't even know what you're doing because you just did something totally different. That's not even a mathematical formula that matches any formula to any equation. So it's not there. It's not there for me. Sorry, it doesn't work. Nope, you're lying. And walk away. And a lot of us, we say we miss the red flags. We're not missing flags. We're just not paying attention to the body language and then equating it to the words. We're so focused on listening to what they're saying to us and just making sure we're hearing what we want to hear. That is not active listening. That is actually selective listening. I want to hear what I want to hear, and I'm going to absorb that part. Everything else I'm just going to throw by the wayside because it doesn't really apply to me. I don't know how it doesn't apply to me when they're talking to me, but it doesn't apply to me, right? Whatever. Everybody has their own analogy of how they want to absorb and to receive information. I would rather receive it straight up. No chaser, no candy coating. I'm a grown woman. I barely eat sweets. Please don't candy coat your words to me. Because I am going to really, I'm not going to just feel the BS in there. I'm really going to dissect the words coming out your mouth. And I'm going to be like, oh, okay. I hear you. Yeah, I know what that word mean, that word mean, that word mean. I know what you just did. Body language. Oh, your body language just told me you nervous, you scared, you frustrated, you confused, and you're lying. Okay, so you know what? I'm good. And majority of the time, if you just sit and actively listen and be quiet and watch the body language, it can tell you an entire story. I used to tell my children when they were younger, people, you don't have to wait, want people to be mental telepathy. You don't want to have to use mental telepathy on people, right? You can make people tell on themselves by asking certain questions. You can just ask certain questions about a person and you can tell what that person is about. Let's talk about something that's very controversial. Bring up whatever controversial topic you can find, the most controversial topic in the United States, whatever you can find, and ask a person about that controversial conversation. And whatever they decide, because you only going to go good or bad, the right way, the wrong way, and there's no wrong way. So either way, you will be able to tell where that person's mindset is, what they believe, what they like, what they don't like. It don't have to be a surprise. You're just not asking the right questions. Whether it's a job interview, you're interviewing somebody, if you're not asking the right questions, they're not going to expose themselves to you. And yes, during that time, because of HR and a lot of the stipulations that we have as, owners and employers in the management level or HR, there are certain things you can and cannot do. There are certain questions you can and cannot ask. You can't ask about age. You can't ask about their children, how old the children are. You can't ask about all their personal information or their health, right? Which is still personal information. But in a natural conversation, in a natural setting, you can ask them whatever you want to. But in an interview, you may not be able to ask certain questions when it comes to their personal life, but you can ask other questions that have to pertain to other people's life, like a famous person who is going through a situation, and you want to know how this person feels and how they're going to respond to this particular situation. They're going to reveal information to you that you didn't technically ask for. I didn't ask you for that, but you told me. So now I can add this to my repertoire of in my decision making. If I'm going to decide to hire you, if I'm going to decide to date you, if I'm going to decide to even deal with you, if I'm going to decide to friend you, and if I'm going to decide to even promote you, like whatever. And then you don't even cross the line on being, in HR or, being, non-politically correct or whatever it is. You're not going to cross that line, right? You're going to be right in the line because you didn't ask this particular question, but this question led this person to give you more information than what you asked for. Those are the questions that you want, especially in a job interview. If you're interviewing somebody, you want to ask questions that can potentially lead this person to spill information about themselves that will help you decide if they're a good fit for your company, if they're a good fit for your department, if they're a good fit for your team, right? If they're a good fit for your family, if they're a good fit for you. There are certain questions you can ask that have totally nothing to do directly with that person's life or your life. It is general things that is going on out in society that is public information, and you just want to know what they think about it. I taught my kids that when they were in high school and middle school. Ask the right question if you want more information. If you want to get some information out of somebody and you're not really sure which way they go, like some people's like, well, I didn't know he wanted 5 kids, 6 kids. I didn't know he wanted kids. I didn't know this woman had 8 kids when I hired her, and she's never here because she's always late. Something wrong with one of the kids because she got 8 kids, 10 kids. I didn't know she had all them kids, but I can't ask if she has kids in here. I can't look at her body and say, oh, you got kids. You look like you got about 10 kids by looking at your body. I can't say that. I can't say, oh, you look like you got about 20 drinks and about last year, you just an alcoholic, you're a recovering alcoholic. You just might slip back into that, or you might do this, you might do that. You don't know a person's history, information, or anything to really give you what you need to make a sound decision. And there's ways that you can do that by asking certain questions that have nothing to do with them or you. So there's no direct question. It's like an indirect question, but they may lead to give you more information than they thought that they're going to do. And that's the point where you can make a sound, solid decision. Okay. Get along with others. Like, you want to be very personable, right? You want to be personable. You want to make friends, and you want to, to entertain people, to be that people person, because once you start being around more people and networking, you actually can work on your social awareness skills, because it's part of your practice, right? That's you practicing your social awareness skills, and practice makes perfect. So practice those skills, get out there, look at people's body language, listen to the words, be the active listening, embrace empathy, try it out without being sympathetic or narcissistic. You want to be empathetic, right? Have confidence in what you're doing. Have confidence in the information you're giving out. Have confidence in what you're saying and what you believe in. Actively listen for all of these, key points of what people are saying, and then look at what their body language to see if it's even a match. Because I'm sure, I promise you, if you pay attention, it ain't matching. It ain't matching. Key point. That just gave you some winner points right there, like some really winner points, because that right there does not always match. Trust me. You want to improve your body language, because your body language is going to say a whole lot that you're not saying. Your body language, because we was talking about active listening and body language, right? And you want to get along with others, because if you're not a personable person, you don't get along with people, nobody's going to like you. Even if you're a manager or owner, guess what? It's going to be hard for you to hire people and to keep a team on, and definitely to keep and retain good employees at your firm, at your company, in your department, whatever it is, or even just keeping your kids in the line. They're not going to be very open to you, and you want to teach them very young that, hey, looking at body language, looking at the words, these need to match. And you want to teach your kids these things. The last and foremost thing, make fear your best friend. You want fear to be your best friend, and the reason why is because fear harbors and brings opportunities to you. The opportunity to be your best, work on your personal development plan to see where you're lacking and where you need a little help at, or even a little bit more information. But it also shows you some inbred habits that you have when you're fearing something. What are you fearing? Are you fearing the lack of money? Where did you get that notion from? Somebody has instilled lackful intentions in you. So that's why you're struggling getting the money and making the money you want to make, is because somebody made you feel that money is kind of dirty or bad, or you don't deserve it or need it, or that you should be more altruistic and worry about helping people versus making money. Whatever it is, make fear your friend, because whatever it is you're scared of, it's something you need to overcome. And if you're scared of it, it is something you need to face, because that fear is going to give you an opportunity for personal growth. So fear is definitely your friend. Don't fear fear. Don't fear failure, because fear and failure are your friends. Fear and failure help you find yourself. Fear and failure help you discover what you want, what you don't want. Fear and failure help you see what works and what doesn't work. Fear and failure helps you to define you on a higher level, where you can actually create the you that you want to be. Because the fear and the failures, when you run from them and you hide from them, they stop you from growing. They stop you from being the best you could be. They stop you from creating. They stop you from being innovative. They stop you from reaching every possible goal you have for yourself, whether it's personally or professionally. And remember, you want to take your professional goals and plan and combine them with your personal development goals and plans. And you put those two together. And then you write a system for both plans to make sure that both plans are in alignment, both plans are cohesive and marrying each other, so that you can have a smooth system to acquire everything that you want to acquire in this world. You can manifest everything that you're thinking about manifesting. You can live abundantly in prosperity and happiness and joy and peace and freedom. And you do it on your terms. And you're confident in what you actually planned out. And you know your system works. And even if something it gets messed up in your system, you know you could just go in there and boop, tweak it just a little. And when you tweak your plan from time to time, you fine tune it to get exactly what you want out of this life. You got to fine tune things. Whether you have a guitar, whether you have, you play any instruments, a flute, a trumpet, trombone, saxophone, drums, all of those need to be tuned. Even the drum, sometimes it's too loose. You got to tighten up. You got to tighten up, the drum a little bit so you can get that bounce and that sound that you're looking for. If you're in the cars, transmissions need to be tuned. You got to tune your transmission. You know why? Because it has to shift gears. It has to constantly keep shifting. And if anybody has a Mercedes-Benz, and usually the E-Class, they have these transmissions. It's like 7. They got it's like a 7-matic. It's a 7. You hit it and it's constantly shifting and it's checking. And what the transmission in those cars do is it starts at 0 and it ticks to 1. And the way you're driving is trying to get used to the driver so it can feel how you drive. So then you can get the smoother ride. You can get the best ride possible, right? In this Benz. So it shifts to 1. If it doesn't actually, it's something negative and it hits it wrong, it drops back down to 0. Okay, is it better or worse? Better or worse than 1? Okay, it's better. Okay, we're gonna go 0. Okay, it's still not riding where it needs to. Let me drop down to -1. And then it starts riding a little better. And it say, okay, let's drop down to -2. And it starts smoothing out and riding better. It's like, okay, let's drop down to -3. And it starts riding worse. So to say, okay, -3 is not it. Go back up, -2. That's where it finds its sweet spots on all 7 levels of that transmission. Find your sweet spot. Find your sweet spot in all 7 areas or whatever areas you want in your life. Find your sweet spot. If you're starting at 0, right? If you go up a notch and it's cool and it works and it's not causing a conflict, run with it. Go up another notch until it doesn't work no more, then drop down or drop down and go up. Find your sweet spot. And once you do, everything will just run smoothly. You'll start manifesting everything that you want to manifest. You'll start thinking about more things you want to manifest because we'll never stop manifesting. We'll never stop creating. We'll never stop thinking about being better. And you want to create that. You want to bring it to the forefront. And you want everybody to know that this is who I am. Treat me accordingly. This is my contract to everybody around me. Look at me. Understand me. Excuse me. My throat is dry. And then, they treat you accordingly because they're going to treat you how you treat yourself. And you're not going to allow nobody to treat you any different than how you treat yourself. So then you won't get what you don't want. You'll always get what you want. I am so excited and just happy to be with you guys every single Saturday. This is like really, really cool. I have a guest speaker next Saturday who's an amazing woman. She's a film producer. She also jumps on and she is a chaplain. So she's out there helping a lot of people out there on the streets, women on the streets to better their life. Amazing woman. Her name is Tamia. She'll be on next Saturday, and I am looking forward to her. We're going to start advertising for her so you can see her. And we're going to be talking about some very great stuff to help motivate you, pump you up, and get you on the right level and the right frequency so you can go out there and achieve everything and anything that you want for your life. You can always contact me at Desiree Williams at blanktag.org. That's Desiree Williams at blanktag.org. You can also find me on social media, Facebook under blank_tag_, or my personal page, Desiree Passionate One Williams, which I'm sure is connected to this link. And then you can also find me on my website, www.blanktag.shop. You can also call me on our business line, 702-720-4570. And set up an appointment at any given time, go over some coaching packets, look at what you want to improve, what you need, have a consultation with me. I do 1 hour. I don't do 30-minute consultations. I do free 1-hour consultations because it takes some time to really get that energy frequency flowing on that call. So you can kind of because you want to get to know me. Like I seen her on the video, but I really want to get to know her. 1 hour free consultation calls so you can kind of get a feel for me and get to know me, and actually it allows more to come out so then we can discover more areas in your life that we can actually go and fine tune. But until next Saturday, I am going to see y'all then with my guest speaker, Tamia Dow, and have an amazing week. Think of everything I talked about, especially the body language and active listening, having that empathy. Look at all of that stuff and make fear and failure your friend and go out there and find yourself. I'll see y'all later.